Welcome back everybody to the next video on support and resistance. Now, support and resistance, okay, is going to be one of the main structural tools that you guys will be using to be able to identify areas of potential reversal in the markets. Now, it can either be areas where the market reverses, or it can be areas where the market actually continues from. But first of all, okay, we're just going to focus on the classic concept of support and resistance, okay, and we're going to be looking at areas of potential reversal, okay, and then later on we're going to be looking at how you can also trade breakouts, okay, and then retests of certain support and resistance levels. So as you can see here, okay, on the screen, I've got this diagram up here, and I'm just going to talk through what support and resistance actually is, okay, and how it's actually represented on the chart and what it actually means, okay, when I say support and resistance, and a little bit of the background behind how it actually works, okay, and how it's actually presented to us in the markets. So what is support? So a support is a price level where price is expected to either pause and reverse due to the buying pressure created at this level. Now, the buying pressure is actually created at this level due to the price decrease, which as a result will create demand for buyers to actually enter the market. Now, what do I actually mean by this? Now, this here, okay, can be seen as an area of support. Now, this is an area of support, okay, because initially at this level here, okay, price had been decreasing in value, okay, it had been coming down, lower and lower and lower, until it reached this low point in here. Now, at this low point in here, okay, price had become so cheap in value, okay, that there was now a higher demand for people to want to actually buy price from here, okay, and that is what causes price to begin to push back up in value, okay. As the demand increases, okay, price will begin to increase. Now, as price increases, okay, it will eventually reach an area where price becomes too expensive, okay, and the number of demand, okay, will actually reduce, and this will cause price to drop back down until eventually it can find that level again of demand, okay, where people are actually interested in buying higher. So this is the basic concept of support and resistance, okay, and it's backed in the concept of supply or demand, okay, the demand for price, okay, when it reaches different levels. So this is the exact same thing, okay, but this is just an area of resistance. Now, an area of resistance is exactly the same thing, but just the other way around. So this price level in here, okay, as price initially was pushing up, okay, the price was getting more and more expensive, and at this level here, there was no longer a demand for price at this level. So because there was no demand for price here, price has to begin to move back down, okay, and it has to become cheaper in order for people to actually want to get involved in new buy positions. Now, as price actually decreases, okay, it's coming down. Here is the initial first area, okay, of demand, where people actually think, okay, you know what, price is cheap enough now for me to want to actually buy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to buy price in here, and that is what causes price to move up in this area just in here. Now, once price reaches this level in here, okay, again, people are saying price is too expensive, okay, I don't actually want to get involved in further long positions in here, and so again there is a lack of demand in the market, and because of that, price has to drop off, and it will become cheaper and it will become cheaper until eventually we reach this area, okay, of demand, which then eventually caused this reaction in price. Now, because price sold off from this level here, okay, this becomes quite a nice area of resistance for us, because it was a previous level, okay, where we know that people were not willing to continue to buy higher. And because of this, it's highly likely that when price actually returns to this area, a similar thing may actually happen, okay, and again people will think that price is too expensive, and what will happen is you'll see a reaction and price will begin to drop down from this area, okay, and that is how we're actually able to predict a potential reversal in the market, okay, and call this area of resistance. Now, the same thing can happen here, okay, we move from an area of resistance, we pushed down, and now we know that people were actually willing to buy prices in this level here, okay? They thought that price was quite cheap. So again, you know, we can make that prediction that when price returns to this level, okay, this can be seen as a cheap value in price. And what happens, again, we get more buyers entering the market and price moves to the upside. So this is the basic concept, okay, of support and resistance, and a little bit of the background, you know, about why it actually works. And this is why, okay, it's all about those cheap versus expensive prices, okay, and being able to actually retest these certain price levels to see, you know, if it is actually building a case to move higher, okay, at cheaper prices, and it's building a case to move lower at potentially more expensive prices. Now what we'll do, okay, is we'll look at a slightly more complex version of this, okay, just to give you more of an understanding of how this can actually be presented in the charts, okay, and the types of ways in which you want to be looking at it to actually be able to call these certain reversals in the market. So let's have a look at that now. Okay, so if we have a little look at price here, okay, I've drawn on a number of different trends, okay, starting in a bearish trend in here, okay, we then change bullish in here, we then eventually move bearish, and then bullish, and then bearish before a final impulse to the upside. Okay, so if I was going to draw on a number of different trend lines, okay, I would start off by identifying that we were in a downtrend in here. Okay, I would then say that we broke out of this downtrend and we actually moved into a nice bullish trend in here. Okay, this was then followed by a bearish trend in here. Okay, breaking lower, okay, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Okay, eventually we then broke back to the upside. Okay, so we had this line in here. Okay, and then finally we break back down. Okay, putting in this line in here. So by looking at this, okay, you can see that we were in a number of different trends. Okay, bearish into bullish, into bearish, into bullish, back into bearish, and then finally back bullish. Now, the main reason why I wanted to point this out is that when we're actually looking at these support and resistance levels, especially the ones that are going to be calling potential reversals, they tend to come from the opposite trend. So, for example, if we're looking for a potential reversal in the upwards direction, the market will tend to be traveling in a downwards direction into that zone. So, for example, as you can see in here, what we've got, okay, is this nice bearish trend coming down, okay, lower lows, lower highs, and here we actually have this level of support. Now, why is this a level of support? Now, if we have a look over on the left hand side in here, you can see that this is a major swing point, okay, in the market. If we were to look at the market as this push down and then this push up in here followed by this push down, okay, you can see that this is a major swing point. Now, as well as being a major swing point, okay, we know that as price was moving cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, at this level here, price reached a level where there was a much higher demand, okay, for price at this price, okay, and then what that's actually done is it's allowed price to actually move to the upside, okay, as that demand actually increases. So as the demand increases, okay, at this point in here, that's what then puts in these higher highs, okay, and higher lows as we're moving up, okay, and that then leaves behind this area of support which I've drawn in just in here. So now we actually have that information in place. What we can actually use is the fact that we now know that because price was cheap at this level here and it caused this reaction to the upside, we can predict that if price is to return to this level again, okay, we can predict that we're going to get another reaction. So in order to actually reach this level here, okay, it's highly likely that price is going to have to change trend, okay, and you can see that we get that change of trend just in here. Price begins to break down, okay, and then eventually we tap in to the support. So this is a good way of identifying areas of support, okay, on a potential reversal, okay, is that you're going to be seeing price moving in a downwards trend, coming into these higher time frame sort of swing points, and then you're going to be seeing the reaction. So now, for example, okay, price then reacts from this support level and then it pushes to the upside. So now we're in an upwards trend. So again, if we're going to be looking for an area of resistance to potentially see a reversal in price, what we're going to be doing, okay, is we're going to be in an upwards trend, and then we're going to be breaking that trend, hitting that resistance, and changing to the other direction. Now, obviously, you may be wondering, okay, well, where's that going to happen from? Now, this would be seen as the overall major swing in price, okay? As we've already discussed, this is, you know, the major swing down. That would be the major swing up, okay? And then another swing in here, okay? Followed by a swing in here and a swing in here. So, of course, you know, price may have actually wanted to come up to this level, okay? And we may have seen some kind of resistance from this extreme point over in here. However, that doesn't always have to happen, okay? And of course, as we break up into this upwards trend, at any point, any of these potential high points could hold, okay? And it's all about obviously waiting for the confirmation, okay, at these levels before we actually got involved in any particular move. Okay, so as price pushes up, okay, I'm saying that price went straight through this level in here, and it actually pushes up, okay, and we get a nice reaction off of this swing high in here, okay, and price moves back to the downside. So no longer is this point relevant in here, okay, or this point relevant in here. And in fact, what we've done, okay, is we've reacted to this point and then we've broken back down into a bearish trend. Now, from the last area in here, okay, that price actually held and respected and actually moved higher, you could actually say that this major swing point in here could be seen as a new area of support. Now, why is it a new area of support? Well, at this price point, okay, first of all, we're seeing a reaction to the initial area of support, okay, over on the left-hand side. But now this is obviously a slightly higher price value, and it's still caused people to want to buy from that level. Okay, so we know that price at here is seen as at a cheap value, okay, and it causes the demand to increase, and that is what causes the price to move higher. So we know that if this is seen as a new cheap value in price, that price may actually return to this same level, okay, and we may get that second reaction, okay, which we can then trade in the opposite direction to the trend, which at the time would be bearish. So this is the best way to actually, you know, identify these areas of support and these areas of resistance, okay, when we're actually looking to call a potential reversal. Okay, and we're going to have a little look at that now on the charts, where I'm going to be talking through how you can actually see these potential areas, okay, and how they are slightly different dependent on which trend we're in, okay, and also how it can actually be seen fractally. So what, you know, the support and resistance you get on the daily, you know, it also works on the 4-hour and the 1-hour and the 15-minute, and it works on all these different time frames. There's always going to be areas of support and resistance. And it's just about how you can actually work with these, you know, these time frames as a whole, okay, and actually begin to build a trade idea of you know, whereabouts are my major swing points, okay, and whereabouts are my areas of potential reversal. Now, of course, you know, we're not just looking to be able to catch reversals in the market, okay, and of course we want to be able to actually trade continuations as well. Now, we're going to be talking about breakouts and retests in a slightly later video, okay. But of course, you know, that is another way to get involved in the market, and it's looking at how we can actually trade these areas in here, okay? So these pullbacks in price, when the trend's actually moving up, okay, we will actually be able to trade these areas, okay, as well as the reversal points. So support and resistance, okay, can work in two ways, and it can give you both the continuation levels and the reversal levels. Now in this video, we're just going to focus on those reversal levels until you get a solid understanding of the way in which support and resistance actually works. So let's have a little look at that now on the charts, okay, and we'll go through some real life examples.
The best time to take action is now. What are you waiting for? Tired of struggling with market direction? Want buy and sell indications at a click of a button? Who wouldn't? Check out TradeDork's buy and sell indicator today at TradeDork.com.
Okay, so if we talk through price action, okay, I've got the daily chart on the screen. Now we want to talk about the general trends of either the bullish legs or the bearish legs, okay, and we're looking for potential areas of reversal. Now if I start over here, okay, the first thing that I notice is that price initially, okay, yes, we had this large impulsive move to the downside, okay, but then price began to move up, okay, we pushed all the way up and eventually we broke out of this level, Now at this point in time, okay, you could say that, okay, yeah, we are quite ascending in nature and we are breaking above this high point in here, but at this point we are also, actually in quite a bullish trend. Okay, so at this point, if we're going to be looking for some kind of reversal, we want to look over to the left hand side and find areas at which price is seen to be quite expensive, and that we initially saw a lack of demand for price to stay at those levels. So if we have a look at this high point in here, okay, we can see that at this point, okay, this can be seen as quite a nice swing point in price, and that price actually moved away from this level, okay, and sold off to become much cheaper. So therefore we can actually go ahead now and mark in this area in here, okay, and we can say that at this price point, okay, we know that there was a lack of interest to push price higher. Therefore, if price then returns back to that level, we could actually say the same thing, that price may look to actually move back lower because price doesn't actually want to be that expensive. So that what actually happens, so price does come up to this level, okay, and we see this reaction down. Now we have this reaction down, okay, we technically break in here and we get this little move to the downside. So at this point in time you could say to yourself, okay, well, where are the next areas of support? Okay, we have the nice resistance in here, so where would be a good area of support if this was to continue moving lower? And I would say that this is quite a nice swing point in here, as well as this area just in here. So what I would do is I would mark in this area just in here and say to myself, okay, well, if price continues this bearish move, I would look at potentially getting a reversal trade from this area just in here. Now what did price actually do? So price continued to then push back to the upside, okay, and now we're actually continuing in this uptrend. So price continues to push up, okay. You could say as well, what about this next area of resistance just in here? And if we were to draw this in, okay, you can see that initially we did get some kind of reaction, okay, just in here. You can see we did sell off just briefly, but then eventually we continued to push higher. Remember, not every zone is always going to hold. That's not the point of why we do this. We're looking for potential areas of reversal, and then we want to see confirmation, potentially on a lower time frame, to actually get involved in a trade. So price continues to push up, okay. We push up, we're pushing higher. And eventually, okay, you can see that price does max out at these levels just in here. Now, again, if we were watching this and we were seeing that price was pushing up, what we would do, okay, is we would look over to the left-hand side and we would try and find some reason that price may want to reverse, okay, and look for areas of overbought price where price may be actually moving lower to become cheaper. So if we have a look over on the left-hand side, okay, what can we actually see? Okay, and if we have a look, this is the first area that we actually notice. So at this point in time, okay, this is seen as a nice swing point in price, and price actually sold off from this area. Now, this was the initial move down, okay, to indicate that maybe price is too expensive at this level. And what initially happened is price then returned to this area, okay, and we saw that we had this second sell-off in price. So it confirmed to us that this area, okay, was an area that was seen as too expensive and there was a lack of demand for prices at this level. So if we go ahead and use that same concept, okay, and we actually take, the last zone, okay, so you can still kind of say it's this kind of area, and we extend this over to the future, what we can see, okay, is that we're now having a much larger area of resistance. So what's actually happened here is price has returned to this quite extreme swing point, okay, and it's again rejected off of this area and said that price at this level is way too expensive and we're going to start moving lower, okay, and becoming cheaper to try and find those areas of buyers, okay, and that actual level of demand for prices to be at a particular price. So now we can see that we have the reactions in here, okay. Price, again, like it did before, okay, we were pushing up higher and higher. We get this reaction in here. Price breaks down. You could say that initially we actually break trend just in this level in here and we start to trend bearish. Okay, what we then do, okay, is on a smaller time frame, we then actually tap into these areas, okay, of support just in here based on this swing low in here. Okay, and we then get shorter term trades in here, okay, and we begin to push back up again. Now that we actually change back into a bullish trend, okay, in this area in here. You can see we're breaking higher, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, okay, and we're now retesting this initial level of resistance, okay, and we're also tapping into this new area of resistance which has just formed. So now if we were to get a lower time frame confirmation in an area such as this would be a very good place to actually get involved in a trade, okay, and even a potentially a longer term trade, because of course we're on the daily time frame and we're seeing that these daily levels are actually no longer being respected to break higher, okay, and the areas of resistance are actually kicking in now, okay, and we may see price begin to move lower. So okay, then what actually happens next? So price begins, okay, that move to the downside, and now we start the bearish trend. So the bearish trend, okay, we're breaking lower, constantly breaking lower, and again, we're asking ourselves that question of where could price potentially reverse from. Now if I was to look at this up leg in here, okay, this would be seen as quite a nice swing point in here, okay, as well as potentially these areas in here, or even potentially this low point in here. So if I was to draw these areas in on the chart, okay, you can see that at this level in here we actually get a nice reaction. Now why is this a good area for a potential level of support? Because we're in this current bearish trend, okay, and we're coming into an area previously, okay, which pushed prices higher, okay, so prices were cheap enough at this point to be pushed higher and bought. So again, prices are cheap enough to be pushed higher and bought. Okay, at this point technically we do break just into an upwards trend in here, but overall the larger move is still bearish, okay, and we continue to push lower. So of course, we could also mark in levels such as this, okay, just in here, but you can see that not every level is going to actually respect, and here you can see that we actually just continue this larger bearish leg and we just break straight through it, which is why it's very important to obviously have that confirmation, okay, and know what you're looking for in these potential areas of reversal, because again we are going counter trend, and we're counter trend because the market is moving lower, okay, so it's like catching a falling knife. If you're not careful, okay, you will get caught out and you don't want to be taking losses in situations like that. So price then, okay, continues lower, okay, it's a much larger bearish move to the downside. So again, we can look left, try and find areas that we know we may see a reversal, and this extreme in here would be quite a nice place to see if we get any reactions from. Okay, as you can see, we get just a really small reaction, okay, just in here, and then price just falls off one more time, okay, and makes actually new lows on the chart. So after this, okay, we get a nice sharp reaction, okay, to this extreme spike down. It snaps back up, okay, and then eventually we actually break up and we start to move higher. So at this point you can see that we're in a nice bullish trend, pushing higher, okay, higher highs and higher lows are being printed on the chart, okay, and now we can start to ask that question of where are the levels of resistance, okay, that we may see a potential reversal from. And again, we have a number of different areas. We have this area in here, okay, and you can see that we also have areas such as this, okay, which price just broke through, okay, and we also initially had this kind of area in here as well. Now, which out of these three areas would I say is the strongest? Now, it all depends on, which ones hold the most weight, which ones were the most significant, how many have had multiple tests, okay, are there any other factors such as liquidity that we touched on in a previous episode, okay, and it all actually built a picture for potentially not this zone, but maybe this zone, which we saw a small reaction off of, okay, because then we can actually say maybe we're going to sweep above this, create a potential ascending channel into our areas of support, and then see a potential move lower, resistance, sorry, and then see a potential move lower. So that's all on the cards, okay. So as obviously you can see that we broke through this level just by a little bit, okay, and then we actually did break to the downside, so that one didn't quite play out to plan, okay. And then what happened was we actually began this small sort of bearish move to the downside, okay, and we actually reacted to this area of support just in here, okay, which again is just another swing point, okay, any of these swing points just in here, we react to here and we break up. And now because we didn't actually tap into this higher level of resistance, what we are doing is we're creating a new actual swing point just in here. So because we've got this swing point just in here, as price begins to trend back up, what we can do, okay, is now mark in this area in here and we can see that we get a nice reaction. So again, this is another area that we could potentially trade from, okay, trying to find those areas of reversal when we're going against the trend. Now remember, we're not just going to be looking for these reversals, and we're also going to be looking to trade with the trend, okay, getting involved in lots of trend continuation trades, okay, looking for those breakouts and those retests, but we're going to be going into all of that, okay, in a later episode. So for now, okay, I'm just going to go down a time frame one more time, and we're going to look at some lower time frame examples of the same sort of thing, okay, looking for those trends either up or down, okay, and then looking for those potential areas of support and resistance to call the reversals. So let's have a little look at that now. Okay, so now I've gone down to a 1 hour time frame. We're just going to be looking for similar things where we're identifying trends, either bullish or bearish, and then potential areas of reversal by using our support and resistance. So as you can see in here, okay, first thing that I can notice is that we've actually turned into this bullish trend just in here. Okay, you can see that we're breaking out, okay, and we're beginning to push higher. Now, as we actually begin to push higher in this leg in here, what actually happens, okay, and what kind of areas do we see reactions from? Now, if we look over to the left-hand side, what we can see is there are kind of two main areas of interest at this point in time. Now, the first one, okay, would be this high point in here, and the second one can be seen as this high point in here. Okay, so these are two areas that price initially was at, and then, you know, no one was really interested in this level. It was too expensive, and it was pushed down, okay, to this level in here. It was too cheap, so it got pushed back up. Okay, it was too expensive, it got pushed lower. Too cheap, got pushed back up, and it kept dropping and dropping and dropping, okay, until it reached this point in here where price was at a really good level, okay, and people were happy to get involved. And then you saw this large amount of buyers entering the market, okay, as it actually drove prices back to the upside because of the amount of demand that was present. So as the trend actually changed, okay, at this point in here, what you can see is that we've got this area of resistance just in here, okay, and we've also got this extreme area of resistance just in here. Now you can see that we had two really nice reactions, okay, in here, and price sold off in both of these examples, okay, and this is just clear resistance playing out where you can see how 1 minute we're in an upwards trend, okay, and then even though we're holding that trend, okay, we're still seeing pullbacks and potential reversals from these levels of resistance, because we understand that at this point in time price was seen as too expensive. So as price returns to that level, it is again seen as too expensive, and it causes price to move lower. So what actually happens next? So price then does move lower, okay, we actually start this kind of bearish trend to the downside. And now if I was looking at again potential reversal areas, what would I be doing? So if I just put on my trend line, say in this area in here, to prove that we're in this sort of bearish move down, I would be looking at this low in here, this low in here, and I'd be looking at this low in here. Now as you can see, again, what did we have? Okay, we had this low point in here, which initially, okay, we saw these nice reactions to just in here, okay, which pushed price up just there. Now price wanted to continue this bearish move down, so it broke through this low eventually, okay, and we actually then saw a reaction to this next area of support just in here. Now again, you know, price could have rolled over one more time, and we may have seen price actually go all the way down to the extreme area just in here, but instead price held this level of support very, very nicely, okay, and we saw this nice reversal in here. So again, now we've had this reversal in price, now we can say that we're actually in a bullish trend again, okay, and we start to push up, and we're looking for those potential areas of reversal. So again, you know, what potential areas would I be looking for? Now you could say, okay, well, we've actually already seen this area be respected, so it's high, you know, we may see it again, okay, if this is a very strong area of resistance, we may see another you know, tap in to this zone and a respect. You can see the price does consolidate around in this area, but it's already kind of been, tagged into here, so it's unlikely that it may hold again, but it may do if it's strong enough. But in this example, we just push straight through it. So is there anything else on the left hand side that we can see? Now, okay, we have got this area of price action just in here. Okay, now do we get any reaction to that? No, we don't, and you can see the price does actually fall short and just roll over. Now, when that happens, okay, we still do get, the break of trend in here, and we can see that we begin this bearish push to the downside. Now, obviously, when we're moving down, okay, there are going to be opportunities to get involved in these moves, okay, and it's not always about catching the reversal. So price then becomes, bearish, and we start to move down. So again, what sort of areas do we have of interest? Now, the main point would be this extreme in here, with these additional points just in here and just in here. Now, obviously, the extreme is going to hold more weight because it's based on the larger swing point of the leg. Okay, obviously, we've got this larger push down and this larger push up. So this extreme is going to be the point that holds the most weight. But of course, I'm not going to disregard this area in here and this area also in here for potentially shorter term reversals. So in here, you can see that we have this nice reaction just in here where it pushes price up. And this level in here, you can see the price fails to hold. Price then actually moves down a little bit lower, okay, and it just misses this very extreme area that I've got in here. Okay, it depends where you mark it from. Obviously, sometimes you include the last down candle and it still doesn't quite match it. Okay, so you're not always going to get an exact tap in, but what we can see, okay, is that price then eventually moves back to the upside. So following this move back to the upside, okay, what actually happens? Well, we then break back into an upwards trend. Okay, we start to push higher and we push higher. Okay, potential areas of interest would be areas such as this. Okay, you can see that we've got this swing point just in here. Okay, so we've obviously got this extreme in here, this would be the next swing in here, and then this would be the next swing in here. If I was going to favor one of these, obviously it'd either be the extreme or it would be this one, because these can be seen as a potential liquidity. So because of that, okay, and also the fact that this point has actually already had a tap in with this wick in here, okay, we can see that price then reacts to this area of resistance just above in here, and then we cause this move to the downside. So after we get this move to the downside, okay, in here we get this break in there. What do we want to look for again? Okay, so let's look for new areas of support based on our swing lows. So again, swing lows, okay, you can see that we then end up reacting to this level just in here, okay, which is at this middle swing point. It didn't want to go to the extreme, but then we see a nice trend reversal again back to the upside. So you can see how price, is constantly working off of these areas of support and resistance, and it's very important to be able to work out, which trend you're actually in. Are we bullish? Are we bearish? And then looking back in price and trying to find those areas of potential reversal. By doing this, okay, it will avoid you trading every single high and low point in the market. Okay, the main point you want to be doing is identifying that trend, okay, and then just drawing in a couple of zones, okay, that make the most sense to you to actually potentially call that reversal point from. Now, like I said in a later video, we're going to be looking at how we can get involved in the trend continuations, okay, to actually make the most of a trend in either direction. But for now, okay, I'm going to wrap this video up here on the concept of support and resistance and how to actually catch these reversal points. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Make sure to rewatch this a number of times until you really understand the points that I'm trying to make clear to you guys, okay? And I'll see you all in the next episode. So stay tuned and you don't want to miss it.
Be a dork.